Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, November 5th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Our top story: credit unions now have a seat on the island's social partnership. Word of this from President of the Barbados Cooperative and Credit Union League, Haley Haynes, who was recently re-elected to the top post. Haynes says the move is a clear acknowledgement of the impact of the credit unions and their more than 200,000 strong membership. He says their first order of business is to tackle pending changes to the Carif's debit switch, which he warns could compromise 10 years of credit union growth. Haynes noted that if Carif is repurposed, it will then have to use the international Visa card, and this will put a strain on the island's foreign reserves. Prime Minister Mottley today urged Caribbean people to channel billions of dollars in savings sitting in commercial banks to build resilience in light of climatic events. She told a high-level insurance colloquium at the Lloyd Erskine Sandy Fund's Center today that citizens would get a better return if they invest in special bonds, which she proposed should be established by the Caribbean Development Fund.
It is a pool of funds that is crying out for a larger and better rate of return. It is happening at the same time that our businesses and our governments, some prosperous, some disadvantaged, need access to funding in order to be able to build out greater resilience and to adapt to the things that they need to adapt to as a result of the climatic events. If we can let the people of the region help us solve the problems by finding creative financial instruments such as growth and resilience bonds, in which the people's savings can attract a higher rate of return than the 0.1 to 0.2% that it is currently attracting, while at the same time providing a source of finance for businesses and governments at a time when most banks are risk averse, then we will have solved part of the problem that we currently face.
At the same time, the CARICOM Secretary General urged countries to set up comprehensive CARICOM emergency protocols. Speaking at today's event, he expressed concern that approximately 66% of private and public assets in the region were either underinsured or uninsured. He said the same way in which the region established the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, it's time to expand its disaster management governance arrangements.
Dominica showed once again that when a country is 100% devastated, 90%, I say 100%, I saw it, 100% devastated, you can't wait to be called to come in. So we're going to need to have some sort of comprehensive CARICOM emergency protocol that would provide, in instances where we have total devastation, that our region can rally together to assist the member states, at least immediately after such a disaster, to begin to get on their feet.
Effective January 1, 2020, all petroleum-based plastic bags will be banned, and government is granting no further extensions on this target date. Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy Minister Cook Humphrey made this clear as he spoke during the launch of Blue Fest, a series of activities aimed at highlighting the work of his ministry and the different sectors that fall under the Blue Economy designation. He said local bag manufacturers are in full compliance and have already begun working on more environmentally friendly alternatives.
The manufacturers of plastic bags have been able to make a resin-based, a natural resin, organic resin-based plastic bag. So they're not making the petroleum-based plastic bags, and those manufacturers are ready. And because we know that they are in a position to be ready, then we are also ready. But the truth of the matter is, as it relates to the ban on plastic bags, we're doing it for a reason. We've explained the reason time and time again. And I believe that most Barbadians know, and most business people appreciate it and understand it.
He added that there are plans for an even bigger Blue Fest in 2020 with possible involvement from regional and international bodies.
We're hoping to have international partners involved in Blue Fest next year, maybe even a Blue Economy conference as part of Blue Fest, because the whole world, especially the developing countries, are looking at the Blue Fest and looking at the Blue Economy. So we have a number of plans, and hopefully they will all work out in the short term. The ministry has been working very hard to ensure that it happens. There's been a lot of attention, both national, regional, and international attention on the Blue Economy and what we're doing in that space. So you can look forward to much bigger things over the next year during our Blue Fest.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Guyana's top cop assures the country there's no need to panic, even as the country records 17 murders in a month.
At the moment, the statistics coming from the force illustrate that there is currently a small decrease in the number of serious crimes committed thus far. Commissioner of Police Leslie James said that this figure shows that crime is being tackled. He stated that the police will continue its intelligence-led crime-fighting strategy. The commissioner, when asked by the media about the 17 murders that have occurred in the space of a month in the 10 administrative regions of Guyana, explained that while it may seem alarming, the statistics tell a different story. The killings have occurred between the midway of October to November 4.
I'm not necessarily bothered because I'm saying there are few sensational crimes that are occurring. Okay, but we have noted that there might have been a spike. But I can say in terms of serious crimes, at the moment we have a minus 3.4% in serious crimes, generally.
On the international front, a global group of around 11,000 scientists have endorsed research that says the world is facing a climate emergency. The study, based on 40 years of data on a range of measures, says governments are failing to address the crisis and the world is now facing untold human suffering. The researchers say they have a moral obligation to warn of the scale of the threat.
Scientists have a moral obligation to warn humanity of any great threat. Based on rising global surface temperatures and increases in greenhouse gas emissions, it is clear we have a climate emergency. Over 11,000 scientists from over 150 countries agree, and they have supported our recent publication in Bioscience. We suggest 6 critical steps to tackle the climate emergency. This includes replacing fossil fuels with renewables, reducing climate pollutants such as methane and carbon, protecting and restoring our ecosystems. This means stopping land clearing, reducing meat consumption, moving away from an interest in improving GDP and looking at human health and well-being instead, and also slowing down and stabilising human population growth. We are encouraged by recent surges of concern about the impacts of climate change. The best news is that there is still time for people, policymakers and the business community to make the necessary changes.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.